I think the big news here is we are getting a little bit of a not antiquated look of what Haven can bring, but ISO not as common as we had seen maybe at the middle part of last year. Well, what are you thinking between these two comps, these two teams?
It's a bit of a rollback on the meta for sure. And honestly, usually when I see teams swapping comps so early on in kind of the split, it kind of just shows that they're maybe not as comfortable with the new composition. So they're rolling it back to something that might be a little bit older. But it's really either going to go in two ways. It either ends up really well or it just ends up being antiquated like you said. But Mitch, sorry, not Mitch, Shift, excuse me. One thing I do want to say is we're 50% right on this side and they're 0% right on their side. So let's just, you know what I mean? You picking up what I'm putting down here?
That's my duo right there. He's got my back. Oh, let's go. All right, see what we get. Pistol out here at Haven. Gonna get a little bit of a run back from our first series. See what we see in terms of the differences between the two squads, four squads, I guess, technically, between the two matches. And initially, just a feel out towards Garage. Prowler through the smoke. Doesn't really catch too much. Defense responds with just a little bit of a feel out just to make sure nothing's home. And yep, quick response. They're gonna know it's likely over to A. We're gonna get a hard stack on the ADG defense moving.
Wow. An instant 5-player rotate just off the fade dog and smoke and a little bit of silence. That is a huge gamble. They're gambling correctly though. I mean, this is actually a bit of a scary thing for Rose. Whether they get on the site or not, it's going to be a little bit told, but seems like they're shifting back a little bit. It's going to end up being the bit of a fake sell right here that's going to hold C site here for Rose.
Can they get isolation onto Muddy is the question. Yoru just killing noise, killing time, but oh, there it is. There's everybody. Okay, so now you got to figure out how do you want to play retake on C from behind the site.
30 seconds left.
And yeah, you don't love the idea of just taking pistols all the way down C long, so they're gonna cut back over through Garage where Blast is waiting for him. Cross center for Corrupt. Good shield, denies some of the opening damage. Who's still alive with only just barely a Blast, able to connect on some headshots. That turns into a 3-for-1 exchange favoring the Rose attack. Tim, now just the next one to kind of body block this defense from jumping down through window, and that'll be all that Rose needs to get the pistol.
Wow, a great start for Rose. Nice mid-rounding as well. But I think one thing, Shift, that goes very under the radar with this Rose roster is the fact that a lot of these players have been competing in Valorant since, honestly, the game came out. Like, I'm thinking specifically Blast, Retro. They've been competing since quite literally beta. So they've been around for a lot of time. They have a lot of experience, and they have not stopped competing since the game came out. So expect a lot of, just really good positioning like what we just saw in Garage, where there's just a mind for Blast to get into these positions, the crossfire set up immediately, the utility to follow up. So expect a lot of that from Rose. Off to a great start.
See if they can follow it up with the anti-eco. 2 Bulldogs, Marshall already connected for a headshot, and then a Spectre and a Ghost for the upgrade to the pistol. But for ADG, this is just stacking and hoping, and after losing your sole defender over towards A long, it's going to make this feel even more restricted in terms of what you can do on the map. So this is just one of those, let's hope they just come down here and our right clicks hit type strategies for ADG.
And another thing to kind of know as well for these compositional differences is the initiators, right? You got the fade for the Sova. Now the fade offers a lot of on-demand utility specifically towards the sewers, towards Garage. It may not have the drone, but it has a lot of non-cooldown based ways to clear space. So it might not get you that hard 4K HD information, but it'll get things moving along quite nicely.
Yeah, hey, we sent a guy to space and nothing but essentially tinfoil and duct tape. You can get information off Prowlers. Let's go. Jumping onto the site. He was going to be the one in a little bit of trouble here just on the outside of this play. As soon as the smoke fades, which battle looks like it has raged on, and Tim snap it over to find a second. That's a nice little heat check for him. The last left is Bones up top with a shorty from heaven. Don't love that.
Yep. I wonder what he's up to. He's going to try to jump down, a little flying tiger attack with the shorty. Oh, he's going to wait for someone to hunt for the VLR stats. Now, I respect that. I actually like that out of you, Bones. Let's go. He's probably just going to end up dying to the spike. All good. A great start here for Rose, though. The Flawless is going to keep their money kind of moving along quite nicely. And I think Blast will have maybe a little bit of a purchase from Corrupt in the next round to have something to work with extra, a little bit more oomph in the following round. But yeah, off to a great start.
Yeah, really good. I mean, perfection to this point. Anti-ecos don't really tell us too much, of course, but at least you're able to, whoa, a little stray shot. Bones has maybe lost one of those shoulder patches that he's got there. But we'll fall to the spike as mentioned. I think the biggest thing about this opening start here is that it's not taken much for Rose to actually crack the code on some of these executes. Like you kind of were talking about, the exchange of information on our initiators is one thing, but other than that, it's okay. We're just going to go ahead and just run on into a site after finding the utility drain. The first blood turns into numbers. We like numbers. Let's go. Like, it seems very simple right now, and I like that we're not trying to overcomplicate things when the opportunity is in front of you.
Yeah, and I think the cons of Fate are not really going to show until the operator's online, and there's a lot of killjoy utility that you got to get through, right? Because you don't have the shock, so there could be some issues with, you know, trying to get the the spike down towards the B site. It's going to be a 4-player swing right here for Rose, looking for that early pressure, looking for the orb. Nothing too crazy. If they can get a pick, that might speed things along, and an off angle here for Chaotic.
Yeah, nice. Chaotic. Good patience. Able to get the spray to lock for 2. And Bones finding the third means that, yep. It's pretty much looking like an empty bonus here. 10, last one standing. Nothing. Maybe gets a 1v1 there versus Sacred, but no damage anywhere except for maybe 1 shot into Chaotic. So we got some healthy armors. Full purchase still available for Rose, of course, but that's a great response to shut down the bonus for ADG.
Now I'm eyeing out that Omenol right now for Tim. I think it's possible they're going to run a set play off the rip just to kind of set the pace a little bit of this game, right? Because you have so many options, whether you want to get in the behind the lines towards C, whether you want to get into heaven towards A, or even into spawn to kind of break apart the rotates, weaken the defenses, force people back into spawn while you overrun the site. So I'm eyeing that out to see what they're going to do with it, or if it's just going to end up being some kind of fake solution here.
Yeah. Okay. It's also the conversation of, is it a problem yet? Oh, aggressive look there through mid doors. Immediately punished. So once again, we'll see if Rose will just kind of continue on that mantra of, we've got numbers, let's use them well, and just not overcomplicate things.
This is the trap I hope that ADG doesn't really fall into, though, is the fact that they have the ISO and they're going to feel inclined to just like rip shield and swing something off rip, right? Because we saw the way Kane Zera was using ISO last year, and it wasn't really like that. It was a lot more fast floody instead. It was like a lot of counter utility at the right times, right? With the uppercut, it just does so much damage when people are trying to come up the lane, specifically towards the A site or towards the C site where you have clean lines. So I don't want to see ADG just throwing away the ISO's life early like this. It's not a ton of value. It's very coin flippy. And it's kind of hard to play off of sometimes.
We're gonna let the clock bleed out a little bit, then there's gonna be a burst play, and we very well may get some fireworks here today.
Or is it a fake?
Or is it I mean, he's got the ability to teleport. That's the thing, so.
They're cooking something. I just don't know what kind of meal it is yet, Shift.
Yeah.
It's a fake. It's a fake.
There's the smoke deep of sight. Decoy avoided, but keep your eye on the minimap. There's the spike. Wiggling its way up. Gate crash back. Chaotic with the pop flash, and he will get the read. Well, they're not here. So Bones will have to try to get back into position, but will likely not have much of an entry because Blast is covering it, but misses the window of opportunity to find the easy kill. So now the defense can get back to work, but look at the lurk on the minimap. Retro playing on the deep side of this defense. If he gets here in time, this round will be over. But on the meantime, ADG could potentially find timing to take a 4v3 on site, but there's also Corrupt through mid. Everyone's pinched up, and nothing to find there. Good stuff from Rose.
So many lurkers are getting deposited. It's dismantling ADG's any cohesive decision to be made, right? They can't really gather themselves where they want to retake. They're getting shot from the side. They're getting kind of disrespected on all fronts. There's a Killjoy lurk. They don't expect the Fade to be lurking. It's a ton of control being applied here from Rose, and that's kind of the experience starting to shine in, right? It's hard to game plan around some of this stuff, Shift. Like some of this stuff is not scriptable, right? It's only positions that you can get into with experience and then kind of just outplay the defenses.
I like what I'm seeing. I'll put it that way. I like what I'm seeing. And is there something too, like, you know, it's tough to come into the first stage, first match, and, you know, kind of get ran down by YFP if you're Rose. But I think overall, like, as long as you can, I don't know, like, I think you need to affirm the fact, like, hey, it's just one match. Like, it's the first stage. Like, we're fine. We're good. Like, they really didn't get outslayed that bad in their match versus YFP. Like, yeah, a couple of moments here and there, but, like, not reflective of it was 26-7 in overall rounds. So I think you trust, like, hey, we're gunning at this level. We just got to get complete and make sure our mid-rounding's better. And so far, we've seen that, which I like.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Ferps is a very underrated talent. I'm not going to lie. Once he's feeling it, he can dismantle teams completely. But I'm starting to sense a little bit of desperation coming off from ADG. They're starting to force the issue at hand. And when this starts to happen, it really becomes very very up in the air how whether it can end favorably, it can end not favorably, and it seems like right now Rose is the one that's kind of winning out these scenarios. They're just team fighting, they're brawling, they're not really allowing any room for ADG to find these isolated fights. So I mean, good heads up from them for sure.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Closed.
Well, things have been nice and calm. We're gonna get the save to hold by the look of it here for Azure Dragon, so they will have at least a couple of rifles to work with. Chaotic is also going to be in a position to fight, and that's the biggest thing. Is coming up next is you have Dimensional Drift, Hunter's Fury. That's already a deadly combination in its own right. Chaotic can get by just having a stinger if he really wants to, since he's going to be in the Dimensional Drift. So there's a lot of cause for conversation. I won't say concern, but conversation here, as Rose will need to try to respond to these threats moving into the next round.
There's cause and there's also effect with that Killjoy ult as well, because that's going to play into factor whether they can rip the Sova ult early or not, or have like be forced to hold it, right? Because well, are you going to use it in the execute? Are you going to use it in the pulse plan, like take space then drop it? Like there's so many mind games right now that's happening between these two teams. So I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to leverage the Omen ult and the Killjoy ult, especially when they know there's a counter and play, specifically with the Yoru ult and the Sova ult, like you said. So my eyes are on that to see how it's going to go down.
All right, let's take a look. Opening little poke over through sewer, doesn't resort to too much. Rose taking their time. And why not? You have a lot of things to conversationally get through. That's the biggest part of that. I think it just comes down to if they get a good amount of space, do you even need to use the lockdown to execute, or can you hold it to stop off the dimensional drift?
I kind of like the pacing though. They're allowing themselves opportunities to maybe get one of those important kills, whether they catch the Yoru, whether they catch the Sova, trying to dismantle a lot of that Yuto. I mean, the trap play has been unraveled. They know that ISO's there, they know that Killjoy's there, and they know where Sova's at. So they have a ton of information to work with now to clearly mid-round. They know the defenses are split. So where they want to end is really up to them. Whether they go C or A, it's really not a bad call either way. So I think they've done a good job here with this early default.
Clock starting to expire down to critical moments, though. So it's going to be the commit on day long. Keep in mind the offensive Killjoy and Blast, who has a lockdown, is not near this push. Here comes the opener. Good flash coming through. T-Dog trying to stay alive in the site, but he's got nowhere to go, and the shield is broken immediately. That is a absolutely methodical, clinical execute 3 fall. And ADG never even have a chance to put together a response again.
They're not even using their ults either. They're just holding on to it. I think it's just the mind games right now between the Killjoy and the Sova. It's going to be a kind of a standstill between them. It's a standoff. Just who's going to use the ult first. Tough, clean though, clinical even.
Yeah.
From Rose. You gotta love that. I think that's part of that's kind of where you start to see a lot of teams on the defense side not get a lot of value, right? Is where they're not getting space anymore. They're getting their early space denied. Their early ideas are getting pushed back, and they end up in the situation where they have 1 or 2 players towards C, 1 person keeping eyes on the B lurk, and only 2 people holding A. Like that's where you want the teams to be when you're on the attack side. So I would say in terms of the macro, Rose is a step up right now.
I absolutely agreed. I mean, it's just like, so, okay, let's just kind of call that back then and like dig into that conversation a little bit more, because we're going to have some time to chat over it with likely a broken bye here. What do you want to start seeing ADG do to get more ahead of the game here? Because it does feel like they're playing very reactive, very responsive. Some of it feels very structured in that way. Like, okay, we'll let them execute at 40 seconds. We trust our setup, but should we be trusting our setup? Because we're not winning gunfights on site. Like, your ISO going 1 and 5 and not finding any value off of their shield is never great news. Because that's the staying power that you expect out of that agent, is that you can keep resetting shields by just finding kills. That hasn't happened.
Yeah, and I think if you're ADG, you kind of need to be comfortable giving up space like the way they are right now. Like you can't hold every single lane right now with this composition, right? So
sure.
The way the Valorant kind of lore has gone down on this map, specifically with this Yoru ISO composition, is you want to be more in a fast floody style where like you're playing more heavily towards the mids and just flying in while people are trying to take space, right? That's where the ton of value comes in, with the uppercuts, with the people anchoring sites. Like that's really how you want this game to go down. And so far we haven't really seen too much of that from ADG.
Yeah. Well, the Dimensional Drift is going to read that there are 3 defenders backside C and through garage, but no commitment to try to isolate and force a team fight there at Rose. Instead, they're going to get a player onto C, a player watching the cross at B, and now we're going to show some utility at A and rewrap the spike back to the wide open site.
Full control. There's really no other way to put it. This is full macro control. And this style of Valorant is actually one of the hardest to play against, right? Because there's really no way to game plan around it. Like, you need to try to problem solve against this in the moment. You can watch the VODs. You likely haven't seen them play like this. That's typically when you see teams getting a ton.
Spike planted.
And now it's a 5v5 retake on the C site.
With limited purchase as well for the Arsenal here for ADG. So here comes the wall. Decoy came through at first. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. No shots fired. No one giving away any positions. Now the actual take. Retro in a perfect spot. Tried to able to flash, not able to. Bones for the first blood. But he responds. Here comes the pitch now from Sacred. Able to find a couple with the classic. Just down to blast. Able to find the first one. Not as cleanly as he may have liked. Sacred has upgraded into a Vandal. Holding for now. Little shoulder check. Gets to halfway. Pulls off. Second attempt. Sacred wins it. Oh my goodness. Out of nowhere. Sacred on a pinch with a classic. Finds two. And that gets ADG back on site for the defuse.
I mean, if you're going to turn back at half after getting out macro in the first 7 rounds, a Thrifty's a great way to start that, right? The money's kind of swinging back into their favor. They're ultra online. They've been online. They need to get some value out of them, Shift, right? The ISO's not having a hot start, but he has the ultimate online. This could be their way in back into this half. Get a pick off with the ult, maybe squeeze out a kill against an important player like the Killjoy ult. That would be a great pickup. The utility, the lurk holding utility will go down. The gadgets will shut down, and it'll put them in a really good spot on this defensive side. So my eyes on to see how they leverage that ISO ult, whether he's going to be playing centered around the map or just passive towards the C side, it feels like.
Well, we've got something new in the mix here. Chaotic with an op. Misses. Muddy able to isolate using his own decoy. Aldrone forced behind that, and yeah, T-Dogs is looking for timing and space to try to create something, but he gets put down, and now it's a 5v3 early.
Really, the only saving grace right now for ADG is the fact that the Yoru clone is probably getting called out, that it's no longer available in play. So the ISO wall is actually able to kind of equalize this roundup if they should use it. But ideally, he was able to find 1 kill and then the ult for the full equalizer. But no, not even that. A perfect play, patient from Rose and
Last player standing.
Yep. Holy cow.
Spike
Okay.
planted.
Well, that's one way to go about it. It's going to be 6-2 here. Sacred is going to try to attempt to save, but Retro, why not? You've got plenty of cash to try to take this thing out of the hands of the defense and really open up the map again for you, turn this entire go back into your favor, and yep, Sacred will go back to the knife right as Retro was waiting for him. So 6-2 into round 9, needs something from ADG because outside of a little miracle from Sacred, they really have not provided much.
yeah, I actually would like to see a tactical timeout right here, honestly, from ADG to kind of collect their thoughts in terms of what they want to do, because they're starting to slip a little bit in this first half. And it's very clear that Rose is just getting lurkers everywhere, and it's kind of stopping ADG from kind of playing the fast floods and playing the kind of the win condition of their composition, and they're just drawing them so thin on their defensive sides and just constantly pushing, pulling them, keeping them confused. So I want to see a little bit more of that happening from ADG, a conversation maybe about how they want to solve some of these problems, because as of right now, Rose seems like they're running away with it.
Yeah, I mean, they are. It's not even a seeming that they are. They definitely just are.
Fair enough.
Holy cow. I mean, it's early. I get it, and I keep saying that. I don't want to like make us feel like this is going to be like what we're going to get all year, but this has been clean from Rose. It's not even just like they're beating ADG, but in every form of how they're playing this defense, they are providing very similar looks to what we had in our first series from some heavy-hitting names. Muddy, walk down, first blood on contact. Not surprising with just pistols out here for ADG, but still, it's been really, really good. Like, really good.
A little shot from the side, lurk activated, another kill. I think the percentages have gone down severely, and just perfect util, perfect support here. Retro farming it up on the ecos. Respect. The 5v1 now for Sacred. This is this is pretty much over, honestly. Go next. But there's 5 ults in play next round. Shift 5 on the one side, 2 on the other, possibly a third for Retro on the Viper's Pit. So there's a ton of things to work with. One thing that I actually would like to see from Rose here, even though whatever they're doing is working, is a massive pace change in this next round. Just completely throw it off and just try to use the fatal, try to use the Yoru TPs, try to use like everything to just not even give ADG a chance to even think about how they want to use their ultimates in the round.
Yeah, it is one of those things that you've got all this cushion and buffer to work with. Why not try something crazy? Like, why not? Full purchase is going to be the name of the game, though, for ADG. The lockdown that we mentioned from a couple of rounds ago is still an option for Blast. Hasn't had a need to use it. Same can be said, though, for the Dimensional Drift and the Hunter's Fury. So, like you said, it's just going to be one of those rounds that is, I wouldn't say, like, half-defining, but it is a great moment for ADG to swing maybe these last 3 rounds back into their name. Like, it's going to be tough because it's going to be pretty much full purchase the rest of the way for Rose. They're going to have likely a Dimensional Drift up again. So, like, there are conditions for them to get at least 8. But if you can find a way to not just dump everything at this round right here and possibly get yourself to 4, that would feel like a huge success considering how this half has gone.
Completely agree. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about what they're thinking right here. Like, what are the options, right? I think they shouldn't really be scared to play the Killjoy all like normally. At worst case scenario, it's an alt for alt trade towards the post plant or late rounds. I think that'll still end up in favor of ADG if the timing's correct. And of course, you still have the ISO wall that hasn't really that hasn't been used or gotten value from, and you've been holding this soul vault for so long. And at some point, you kind of need to be not perfect with it, right? Like, you just got to get some value with it. You can't just be holding it on, especially when you're the top fragger. And there was a possibility that he could have gotten a second Hunter's Fury had he used it when he had gotten it. And now, it's this late into the half, it's unlikely that he'll get another one. So holding that has kind of taken away a little bit of the value from ADG. So
Agreed.
You got to use it when you have it, right?
Yep. What was that? The famous Steve Carell quote? If you don't use it, you lose it. You do, yeah, in this instance. Shout out if you caught that reference. When was the last time you watched that movie? Do you know what movie that was from, Roy?
Oh, he's putting you on the spot.
Damn, I'll tell you later. Here we go, Chaotic. No, misses the opener. Decoy in the way. The secondary also not going to connect. The gate crash comes through. Now it's down to the second line of defense. Sacred provides. ISO steps up with the double tap shield. May expire here, though. And honestly, outside of the spike being down, this was not a full-on commit for Rose. They're going to feel it out again. They have a lockdown to do that.
This is tough. I'm not even sure how they're going to get this spike back, to be honest. Their controller is dead. It's going to have to be a straight-up brawl. And they can't even use the ult. It's going to be ult for ult. So it's literally just a mechanical resolution. The ult posted on shore. That's going to be the first one. Yep, that's the player gone down. This should be an ADG finish here.
One enemy remaining.
Okay, well.
Last player standing.
Yep, there it is. Got down to a 1v1 in the end. I was about to say,
Yeah,
it got a little closer than they would have liked. It got brawly, it got bloody, it got messy, but it all works out all right. 3-7 the count. And again, like you had mentioned, most importantly, didn't have to spend any ultimates. So now we're starting to look like, hold on a second. Thanks to that first blood, we very well may have an opportunity to end this with 5.
And all things considered, 5 on the defensive half is still a really good Haven defense. Like, this is still a pretty attack-sided map, I would say. So I think all things considered, there's still hope for ADG to make this respectable. But if you're Rose and you finish with 9, that's a lot of rounds to work with on the second half. So I'm curious to see again how ADG is going to leverage some of these ults, how they're going to be putting themselves in positions to come out on top, because they need to get value from this ISO wall, from the soul wall. They've been holding it for far too long. I want to see some kind of value coming out, and it is possible though. And my theory is they're holding this Yoru wall because of the Viper's Pit. They don't want to deal with it in the post plant, so they're probably just holding counter for counter. But at some point, you just have to use these ults to guarantee these rounds.
Bot coming back.
Okay. No ifs, ands, or buts. You have to have it. There's the Dimensional Drift making its way through C. Bones, the only one really scouted at this point. But honestly, yeah, Muddy's going to maybe commit to staying back here. He thought about it looked like, but that was all just to move the defense around. And for honest sake, ADG's okay. Like, they're set up in a spot that they can still respond with their ults.
Yeah, this is where I think Blast is going to get activated right here, because they know the C-side's clear. They know that someone's in garage, so the timing's going to have to be impeccable here by Blast. He's getting collapsed on, though, and that could be the Killjoy all gone.
Viper's Pit out aggressively. T-Dog, wow, spraying it down, finds Blast. That will keep the lockdown safe. Viper's Pit. Can it get reaffirmed? You need Tim to save it. Oh, they lose the smoke. But it might not make a difference. The time has become an issue. He going to make his way over. Long flank on the way as well behind.
Do they have it?
From Chaotic. Do they have the time for it?
Oh,
No, they do not. So it just got too long. And the cleanup from Chaotic also comes through. Huge round for
Last
ADG.
round before the switch.
It's scrappy. It's not beautiful, but it's getting the job done, Shift. 4 rounds now. Finished with 5. Hey, sins are forgiven for that beginning of that first half.
I agree.
Beautiful.
It's, you know, we talked, go into the timeout here with me, Roy, because like we're talking about like what's going right for Rose, like where ADG have been a little bit closeted off. And granted, you're using ultimates to clear the space in that last round, but at least you're able to get the map in your control for once. That's gotta feel good.
Gotta feel good. Yeah, I kind of like the approach now for ADG. They have the Omen holding Garage. There's a little bit of Killjoy utility holding the long C, so they're able to be a little bit more together towards the mids, fast flood towards A, like we talked about before. That's exactly how you want to be playing it if you're ADG. So I think the adjustments are there. They're definitely catching on to what they need to do. Now it's really in the hands of Rose to see what their adaptation to it is. They know that the defenses towards Garage has been quite isolated. They might try to overwhelm, or they could just go B and just force the plant quickly.
Looks that way.
Fast plan it
Defensive
is.
smoke trying to get into place, but most of that's been beaten. Hunter Fury going to come through. That forces players out, and Bones actually gets caught trying to play for the kills. So the Hunter Fury will now fade. We have the one-on-one up top in the corner, and Tim's able to win it inside of the ult, so that's not expected. Chaotic in some trouble, but is able to find one. Looking for more, and is able to finally lock down the shots as T-Dog follows behind him. 3v2 now advantage to ADG. But the attacking lockdown is now in play. T-Dog gonna try to hop on to get this into halfway. Maybe more than that as Sacred plays get down, Mr. President. And they do secure the defuse. 7-5 goes the half.
A crucial hold there from Sacred. Beautifully played, capitalizing on the shots as well. But man, if that ult from Blast had gone down even a second sooner, that result would have been completely different. So the time really, it came down quite literally to split second and capitalized on by Sacred, who's having a phenomenal first half. 10 and 8 in the solo role. You gotta love that. 5 and 7 though, Shift. That's exactly how they wanted to close that out. 5-7, a respectable defensive half. Now they have a lot of utility to work with. They can easily overwhelm sites if they play their cards right. The name of the game here for ADG: spread the defenses thin, rip ISO shield, and run down these isolated players on defense. That's how Envy did it all year long, and no one found a counter to it. So I'm looking to see them kind of bring that back. And of course, hey, I got to be initiated right? The tech pause, baby.
There was a time and place where I think it was stage 1 last year. I felt like every broadcast that I was on had at least a 30-minute total tech pause. Like, not just for one pause, but like it'd be like, oh, okay, we're back. Oh, never mind, no, we're not. Like, it was crazy. So welcome to the world of tech pause vamping.
Okay.
I would, for a while, I really do think it was a me problem for a while, but I've been smooth sailing for a little bit, so maybe not.
Yep, you might be the NA pansy. Who knows?
Yeah, facts. Okay, so let's just run through the second half now. 5-7, great recovery in the last 3 for ADG. They do it in a way that I won't say it's unexpected, but again, you start round 10 with not having to use any ultimates, you find a win. That sets you up for the 3 in a row. How do we get back into this from the offensive side now? Because again, the dynamic's going to look different knowing that there's a Yoru and an ISO compared to just the Yoru by itself. So are we intel gathering, then popping shield and running forward, or what are you thinking as far as what you're expecting from ADG?
Yeah, I mean, again, the best thing they could do right now is just spread them thin on defenses. So they need to take space, whether it's Garage, whether it's long A, kind of the same idea that we saw in the last Haven, right? Where you want to do that push and pull. The only thing is you don't have as much smokes to work with, right? So you're gonna have to resort back to some of the older styles of control where you're smoking bricks, you're pressuring sewers, you're pushing off the offline, right? As soon as you have them in that position where they're corralled on sites, right? They're holding A, they're worried about the B lurk or the Garage lurk. Like that's really the time for you to just like, okay, let's group up and let's go somewhere where we think they're weak. Just rip shield, trade out the ISO, and just overwhelm and just play the pulse plants as comfortably as possible. That's been the name of the game for this composition. I really want to see them run it back. It's a good playbook, I think.
Yeah, okay. I always thought that seeing ISO on this map was really, really fun. It felt a little cheesy, I think, at first, because it was literally just like wall up, run down C-long, shield up, I'm in there, you can't kill me. Like, it felt like a little cheese, but I like what we've seen in terms of how the patches have modified the ability for this to find success and where it does and how it really kind of collapses on top of itself sometimes if you're not careful. So yeah, I'm really pumped to see how these guys come out 3 rounds in a row for ADG, pulling a comp that is a little less typical maybe than what we've seen so far.
At least in recent history.
Yeah, like a little, right? Like, but it's just like, we're just not seeing it as much, I feel like, across the Valorant world, which is cool. Like, I'm here for that.
I'm here for that too, and I think that's kind of the flair and appeal of Valorant is like it's really, yeah, there are some optimal things that people have discovered, but ultimately it's really just comfort in what you have at your disposal and how you make all these things work together, right? That's really the name of the game for the IGLs. T-Dog's quite experienced. He's called it different styles and different teams. I'm sure he can figure something out. And the other thing too is like about tech pauses that's kind of interesting coming from like a player POV, right? And a lot of people talk about is people can't talk during a tech pause.
Yeah.
You can't speak to your teammates about strategy and stuff like that, but you can still think. So for the IGLs, it's kind of like a low-key a buff. Like you get a time, you get a little breather, you can come up with a good game plan, you can cook up some crazy pistol round, right? For both sides, obviously. So there's still a lot of thinking. So I'm expecting like a really fleshed out pistol right here, Shift. I'm expecting some high level pistol play coming out from these guys because they've had, you know, a bit of time to think about things while they resolve their issues.
I'm here for that, dude. Just like chewing down on a notepad, just scribbling frantically. Hey, if Abraham Lincoln could come up with the Gettysburg Address on a napkin on a train, I trust the IGLs to come up with some crazy pistol concoctions. I'm here for that.
Oh, it's okay. I love that. I can vibe with that. I can vibe with that. Oh,
well, we're hearing that it's mouse issues, so hopefully that's something that's like as easy as let me just get a USB-C, charge this thing up real quick, or put some batteries in, we'll be good to go. But hopefully it won't be too much longer overall. Let's kind of run through while we have a moment. We haven't had a chance to talk, and I know that you are like big brain desk guy all the time, and this is fun for us now. But take me through kind of your first, the first couple of days here, stage one. I mean, are results kind of coming up the way you would have expected them to? I think we got a really big energy changer in our first matchup today. Energy changer between NRG and M80. But like, is there anyone that's like really pleasantly surprised you, or maybe not so pleasantly surprised you so far?
I'm really liking NRG Academy. Just, results aside, I really do like what I'm seeing from them. I think they're going to be, I think the sleeper team, they're going to have pretty good results consistently throughout the split. They have the time buff in their favor as well, right? And like the time buff is a ticking thing, right? Because like in the beginning of the split, the rosters that have had, more time together, they kind of get the buff. Like they have a huge advantage, but eventually that gap closes and closes as we get deeper into the split, even in split 2 or split 3. Like as the year progresses, like that buff kind of goes away. So I feel like that early start should put them in a pretty good spot. But in terms of like rosters, man, I've been pleasantly surprised by to see the return of some players, like specifically Ferps on YFP. I think that roster is also a sleeper roster. There's an upcoming roster for sleepers. There's a kid on that team named Solada. Keep an eye out on him. He's so flashy, bro. Peep his Twitter. Like he has the craziest clips I've ever seen. Actually, the feature. So there's a lot of cool names, man. There's a lot of like interesting players that have come into play. There's a lot of cool teams that have been put together. SRB's roster as well. That obviously a lot of these teams are going to have some jitters. They're going to have jitters, and I think they're going to have some growing pains, and there's a lot of expectations on them, right? But ultimately, I think the level of play that we're going to be seeing is going to be crazy towards the end of the split and moving on.
I was going to say, I just feel like even as an introduction to this stage so far, we've already seen that we've got like a lot of, like, there's not a clear cut right now. I think that's the biggest thing. Like the last couple of years, it's always been like, oh, like M80s in the past, they're just running through teams. Envy last year, just running through teams. I don't know if we're going to get much of that. I mean, maybe we get a little bit. I mean, seeing NRG Academy do what they did today, maybe. But like, I would love to see them play sleepers in YFP. Winthrop still looks good. Moobs is still back shooting. You know how he goes. So, I mean, we got a really, I think the biggest depth of talent we've had probably maybe ever to a start of a challengers year than we have right here. So pump for it, and wouldn't you know it, congratulations, round of applause everyone in the chat. Roy made it through his first technical pause vamp, and he crushed. So we're here for that.
Let's go. Wow, inspirational. Here it is, a little brawl, a little trap set up. It's going to be one and done, an instant trade, and that's that the green light for the site. Yes, it is. The overwhelm. Here comes the utility, the ISO presence, baby.
Double tap, all up and at him. ADG clean on their take towards the backside of A. That really puts Tim into a position of hope and pray. Some of this right click connects, but instead on the other side, it is the ISO finding damage. Double tap about to expire, or is it? You thought. And now it's just down to Retro. And it's just an aggressive game of shoot 'em up down here. Yeah, 4 for 2. Okay, that's huge, though. You think about the kill contract potential early.
Oh, my God. Bro's on Pie Watch, and now he just got 4 kills. He's heated up. That's exactly what you want, right? Though, like, your ISO player is not really feeling in the first half. He comes into the second, gets a 4K. He's closer to his ult. Like, I think he's 2 points away, if I'm not mistaken. So, like,
2 or 3, yeah.
An orb, a kill, that's the ult right there. Or an orb and a plant, that's the ult right there. So, 3 points. Okay, close enough. But yeah, and it's still one step closer, right? And I imagine a C default is going to start right here. You're close to that ISO ult, and I think that's going to be the theme of this half shift, is that early C start to get those orbs up, right? The 7.0 for ISO is really strong.
Ooh, Muddy seems to be thinking the same thing though, and puts himself well within kill range. Finds the first and teleports back.
Okay.
But the orb is still collected, so 2 away, but it comes with a cost.
Oh, that's a really big cost though. The drone is gone. They have no way to unravel the map now. It's pure contact play. If Rose gets the right read, if they're in the right places, which as of right now, it's not looking exactly like it is, but if it does end up being that way, it's going to be a huge problem for ADG.
Well, here comes the utility dumped into B. Double tap up, teleport on, get the plant, and fade back. Stay away from those pistols. Trust your Marshal, trust your Guardian. Looks like it's going to be a hit straight through garage doors.
Oh
and
my
T-Dog
God.
is in a very weird space to defend this. Sees a couple of shoulders though, and so instead of being in a weird spot in the middle of no man's land, he actually lines up a couple of headshots. Perfect timing for it. And for the rest of this Rose defense,
One enemy remaining.
yeah, just going to get bullied out. Okay, nice
All
start
right.
here in the half for ADG.
Crisis averted. Job well done. Nice little adjustment there from ADG, just popping on the B site. Gotta love to see that. And I think we're gonna continue seeing a lot of this early C control, right? We're getting close to our ISO wall. We're gonna want to continue farming that, and at some point there will be some layers of mind games, right? It's like, oh, they know we want to go C, so now we're gonna start off with the A control. So it's gonna the kind of the IGL meta reads are going to progress within its own little bubble here in this matchup. So we'll keep your eyes on that, see how it'll continue to unfold. For now, it's the bonus guns here for ADG, looking to get that early momentum, but things are tied up, Shift. It's the sins are forgotten. It is now a clean 7-7.
Just a little bit of a, turn the monitors on, get the hands wiggled up, chilling. So now there's a little bit of pressure here for Rose to keep their defense, get their defense going. And it's a little bit of a feel out here for ADG. Muddy's just going to play a little shoulder at long. There's a smoke in the sewer to try to keep the defense interested. A touch close and personal. Aldrone, just check your corners here. And Muddy will deny anything more. Shoulder seen, bold peek from
Nice
Chaotic,
shot.
punished by Muddy.
That's a huge shutdown. If they had lost that line, they would have been in that position that we talked about before, where they have no information to go off of. But that kill, as well as a little tad bit of information, has helped them immensely. Now the pressure's coming out here from ADG. The shield used a little prematurely, trying to apply as much pressure as possible here on the C side while they make their way back toward the A, hoping to get a free sight. But Muddy's still here, anchored down.
Yeah, and honestly, stay away from the recon. And then get yourself an angle. That works out perfectly. T-Dog will get the shutdown, but it comes at the cost of half his life. Drop still watching the cross, easy follow-up. Sacred, nowhere to go there. And Tim has sewer covered. Nice, complete response there from Rose, starting off with Muddy's opening first blood.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's exactly what you want to see from Muddy, right? That A line is so deadly, man. It controls this map completely. You have that line, everything feels so much more comfortable on the defensive side. So I do want to see how ADG is going to kind of adjust to some of this pressure, right? Because that is really the win condition for Rose. They can't get corralled on sites and kind of just get overwhelmed by the Uto like that. They need to keep some lines. They need to keep some information. Try to have numbers on sites. Try to have like an educated guess at any point in the round. So I think it's being executed quite well here for Rose.
Agreed, dude. I like that educated guess line. That's nice. I like that. Because sometimes it does feel like a guess, no education. That homeschool guess, you know? I can't. Here we go. We're making a quick hit over towards A, at least by the look of it. Aldrone, decoy, and the kill contract, I was about to say. And who do we pull? We pull Corrupt. So you've got the fade out of the picture. Woof, dude. Woof. Oh my capital W-O-O-F, woof.
And no one capitalized on site either. So now they're just stuck behind the utility with not much to work with. Both duelists down. They have the Omen ult, but they need an equalizer before they can even think about a pivot here. Like, they need to either find the kills or out trade, but it's a 4-player hold, a square on this A defenses. That's tough, man. I don't think they're getting through that.
No, not after all of your execute dump was about the kill contract and Chaotic getting into the site. So now you just got to win out some sick gunfights. Beautiful snake fight later. Tim on the easy crossfire. Reveal comes through even on top of that as
30
Bones is stuck
seconds
into a
left.
corner. Flash out, just really making him feel the pain, but Bones creates an exit. And I say that with some dissertation because take a look, you've got T-Dog with the spike. He could teleport if he wants to. But no, we're saving.
Yeah, it's just too many numbers. If it was a 2v3, I think they'd definitely go for
10
it, but
seconds left.
they need the guns for the next round, unfortunately, so they're going to hold on to it. And Rose makes their way up to 9 rounds, a beautiful hold. And another detail that I kind of picked up on in that round as well, Shift, is usually the Vipers have their orbs placed kind of in that little tri area between quad and sewers and the A default, right? Where you can play kind of around it however you want defensively. But they actually have the orb towards long A. It's dedicated on that lane specifically. So I think that whole idea is they're expecting the hits to come in from long. They're expecting the hits to kind of, even if it's like a split through sewers, it gives them access to just like push through the Viper orb, kind of fight into their own and turtle towards that long A to make the defenses a little bit awkward. So a little bit more room to work with on the sites and maybe not get as overwhelmed so easily by the ISO kind of like linear util that he has.
I like the call. Okay, defense for Rose going to have the dimensional drift available, not full purchase as we kind of had prior mentioned from the save for ADG. So gonna need to have something creative put together for this round if they want to try to find something, or maybe not creative. We often have seen in this map just like, let's just run it into B, see what happens. But there's an alarm bot, nano swarm, and 2-3 members really kind of in the mix that could defend that if that were to be the case.
And with this A line that they have is quite a guess here that's coming out here. The smoke comes out. Yep, that gives away the intent. The flat, the paranoia is out. That's going to stall things along. Now it's going to pivot. Plan B, C split, plan A, push back the A line, and then go back towards B or back towards C side. So let's see which one they choose here.
Deploying drone.
Push back the A line it is.
Yep. Rose is set up perfectly for everything you described at mid. And so, yep, you do pull the fade off that angle. Re-wrap back over, but this looks like they very well may commit to feeling out Garage a little bit here.
And there's really
breaks the nano.
There's no noise on the A side at all. They're going to keep it weak, and I think this is actually a really good call by T-Dog. Is he's selling the fact that it's very obviously not an A hit. He's putting that pressure because there's no, it was complete silence behind that A utility, and now they're walking up long. A huge call here by T-Dog. It will be red, but I'm not sure if he'll get here in time.
Yeah, Corrupt is actually just going to back down. You do have the dimensional drift to re-clear the site. Might be what we're waiting for here, knowing that you've got weapon superiority. May not need it. It's chaotic. Look at the piece of timing. That gets shut down. So now you have numbers and weapons. Metrics are still called out, but like I said, you might not even need it because you've got retro. Trades are out. Bones, last one left. Playing through long, has the sentry turret, trying to keep himself safe. But that will fall.
Phantom.
And now it's just down to, can you possibly spray him down? Nope, not at all. Again, I don't know if we needed a dimensional drift. It was a clean start from retro. Followed up by Corrupt, but regardless, if you got it, use it. It'll be 10 seconds.
I respect it. No, I respect it. I think the stingers and those pistols being so close as a retake could be a little bit scary, so I definitely respect it. A round needed to be secured. Maybe a little bit much. Arguable. I think it's possible to argue it, but I like rounds on the board, Shift. I prioritize rounds on the board over everything. Perfect value is an illusion in Valorant, so I respect it. Now, this is where things begin to shift a little bit, right? The operator's coming online for Muddy. It hasn't really been a huge factor so far. It's going to be now. Whether ADG can kind of guess how it's going to go down or where the op is before it's too late, that's kind of the idea. But the op, if you're ADG and you know where the op is without losing a player, then that's kind of where the ISO gets really strong because you can easily overwhelm the site with that. So let's see if they can read it.
Ooh, okay. Look, a little bit of an aggressive line there from Muddy. At least he's able to land the first, but cannot gate crash back in time. And that's just green light central for ADG. Walls out. Retro up top only finds one. Tim trying to play a little trigger discipline. No one clears him, and he gets 2. So everything's traded back evenly. 1v1. Corrupt on the corner. A couple of tags. Breaks the double tap shield. And Corrupt has everything in his toolkit to use.
Spike planted.
There's the plant, though. Health advantage to Corrupt. Ring around the Rosie we go. Shoulder seam. Snap is out, but Corrupt is just a little bit faster. Oh my goodness. From that perspective, that looked ludicrous.
Oh, that's tough. That's a harsh loss if you're ADG to lose it in that way too, especially when you had the jump on Corrupt. That's gotta feel bad if you're Hugh. That's the 11-7, a huge lead. The economy once again in shambles for ADG Shift. This is where the alarms are going off here, I think. I think the idea was there. They had a good read. They did the swing, the trade on the operator, the overwhelm on the site, but the trigger discipline here, that 2K from Tim, so crucial there for Rose's success. And now things are starting to look a little bit dicey for ADG. They're going to be forcing around the utility that, or the also they have to make things work. They can easily swing long C, get the Hunter's Fury up, work with that to get things rolling along. But there's also the Fade Ult in play here, Shift 2. That's going to be a factor. The fast floods, the re-clears, it can all go down, or even just to stop executes. It could all be used in that manner. So a good timeout right here. I think this round is going to be, I mean, this is the defining round. I think if you lose this, if you're ADG, your chances of winning this game are pretty much in the ground.
This definitely feels like a win to keep on playing. Yeah, this is like when you play in the arcade and like you're playing Cruising USA and you run out of your checkpoints and you have to hit the coins of continue. This is coin entry time.
Win or you're out of money.
Yeah, win or you're out of money.
But I only need 5 tickets to get this teddy bear.
Exactly.
Oh man,
Pain
tough.
is real. And I think the other thing about this timeout is not even just about like, you know, kind of leveling the balance of what is about to come if you are ADG, but more in particular, just making sure that as you're setting up the game plan, you have to be cautious. This isn't just a free walk down, lockdown, get involved, because the operator can still be punishing for you. And that op at the moment is over towards C-Long. Tim is already teleported up top though for a weird angle.
That's a lot of information though. Like, he has all the A line. That's the a little force B all here from the Killjoy. That's going to put a ton of pressure, keep people pushed back, but they're not really going to get much off it. And the Molly's still there on the B default, so they actually likely won't get the plant either.
Oh, for a second, I thought Retro was actually going to stay there to take the angle a little bit longer, but good patience for ADG to get the spike down. Here's that walk up now through A long for the defense on the retake. Retro just going to hold an angle, see if he can catch someone crossing out of the site. But you need to create noise to stop this post plant from feeling comfortable. Good snake bite initially. T-Dog will teleport away. That gets him out. Prowler is caught off the other corner. But for Rose, it's all about what we can find from this position, and Sacred's got it covered. Nightfall from the front is not open any doors. Muddy also shut down. ADG's post plant looking clean. And Rhodes is running out of time. They got to go quick if they're going to go at all. And they may not go at all at this point. And no, they won't.
Yeah, no time. There's a couple things actually that will definitely haunt them here. Is the fact that the Blast had a nano swarm on the default plant. He just did it too late, and they had already gone to spike down. They killed his nanobot while the dude was planning. That was a little bit of a timing error there from Blast. I feel like if he had popped that, things would have been very different. And of course, the double flank not coming to fruition here for Rose kind of seals the deal, seals their fate, if you will. And ADG secured a very important round.
And still have Hunter's Fury to work with. Kill contract, Dimensional Drifter 1 away. Things are starting to really get put together. So now you start to kind of maybe take the conversation the other direction for Rose. I know you've only lost 1 full gun round so far this half, but there's a lot of pieces coming together here for ADG to try to get them to a level footing. So you're going to have Muddy tucked in the corner for now as Gate crashes all the way back over towards Garage, backside Garage. And he's got a little bit of assistance for Corrupt, depending on if they want to spend anything. And they will. They'll toss the Haunt over the top. They don't really get a reveal, and that's enough for the Gate crash to get reset as the offense leans over to Garage.
He might be aware that there's a lurker deposited. Oh, he just TP'd out before he walked up. That's some information. They know it's a lurker, though. It's not going to cause too much cause for concern. Retro's posted on the mid line, though. That could be a very big problem for ADG if they face check it. But ultimately, right now, all the early efforts from both teams has been nullified. There's not really much to go off of. Rose trying to get a little bit of deep space towards sewers to equalize the playing field in terms of where they want to be, when they want to be. But as of right now, ADG, it feels like they're eyeing out the C side of the map. But there's so much utility here still, as well as the kind of the anti-lurking window. So this could be a tough one here for ADG if they can't get that clean kill on Omen.
The panic could set in quickly, especially with a good paranoia, which is really what Tim has to be playing off of. Go first. Recon bolt denied. There's the Hunter's Fury. Tim dancing with it. Doesn't really get affected at all. Now the paranoia is delayed to a point where it's a huge advantage for the defense. Secondary dark cover coming through. Blast on the crossfire. It's an absolute mess in the middle of the map. 12 seconds on the clock. You got to get on. You got to plant. Retro trying to deny. Sacred, yes, gets it planted. Has good help from T-Dog. So now the battle rages on. 2v2 as the shots come out, and it's Sacred for the final two. ADG get us to 9, and now it's all of a sudden a whole new game.
No, all the dancing, all that hard work that Tim put on for the anchor, all just gone to waste in that 3 versus 2. That's so unfortunate. And Sacred coming through for his team once again. You gotta love that. And that's kind of the Sacred effect, right? That's why the Deaths was talking about this player. Is he's so impactful. He may not be the guy dropping 40 kills, but his kills will be felt, my friend. His kills will be felt. And now the alarms are ringing through, Shiv. This is what you were talking about, right? This is the 9-11 now. The gap is closing quickly, and it seems like Rose doesn't quite have a solution to the push and pull that ADG is putting into effect right now. I wonder what their adjustment's going to be. They do obviously have a lot to work with. The 100 Fury is down now as well, so they could run the retake setups if they want. And of course, there is the kill contract still in play. I'm curious to see how they're going to utilize that, right? Because you pop the kill contract, you're either stealing one of the controllers that both have ults, you're stealing the Sentinel player that also has the ult, or you're stealing the information from the Fade. So it feels like no matter who he catches in the kill contract, besides maybe Yoru, it's so much value if he can convert on the kill. So it's going to be the key piece in this round for me for ADG, and I want to see them get a ton of value from it.
0 for 2 on the kill contract so far, though.
Tough.
That's tough. That's actually the definition of tough. If you look it up in the dictionary, it's 0 for 2 in kill contracts on ISO. That's what the dictionary says now. It's true.
Okay.
Don't fact check me. It's just true. Smokes down on both sides, though, kind of asserting maybe that there's going to be a little bit of an aggressive look for the defense to be, especially with that Fade utility. But instead, it's the dimensional drift on the response.
It's you and me.
Kill contract will pull out the clone.
Beautiful read.
Woof.
You gotta love that. It's an immediate pivot back to the C side for ADG after their plan has been foiled. They've gotten no value from that kill contract. Still some nano swarms available in the top C to slow things down, but I think by the time they figure out what's happening, I think the spike will have likely gone down. There is a lurker in the front B that's going to play a huge factor. Does he check it? Nope.
And that actually splits this defense up pretty convincingly as Muddy will drop at A. And now ADG looking to reflip back over to B here with their numbers. From the shadows for Rose will have Tim joining up on the A site. But this is just down to, can Blast be a hero here? If you can find maybe 2, there's a chance, especially considering you have a lockdown to try to stall this out. In fact, Blast is actually set up in a position to maybe just have to isolate onto 1 and then has a lockdown to re-clear.
30 seconds left.
Nope.
Nah, that seals the deal, I think.
Player
Yep.
standing.
It's safe. It's a safe.
Spike planted.
Huh?
Wow.
Wow. Indeed. I think the one thing that's really interesting with the outcomes that's happening right now, Shift, is the fact that ADG is kind of doing what was done to them on their defensive side, right? Like they got the lurks deposited in different places that are getting activated at different times. And this is where things start to get hard to read. It was like, oh, they took space, but did they leave someone? Now you have to waste time to re-clear people. And you have, every time you rotate, you got to be very cautious and you can't be as fast. And that's typically the losing conditions for the defensive sides. Lack of fast floods, no ability to regain space, and no idea where they're ending, right? Like those are like the trifecta of bad defensive halves on Haven. So I think as of right now, ADG, T-Dog's calling is on point. He's made the right adjustment for sure.
Okay, pistols now for Rose, all sheriffs. They will get a dimensional drift of their own. So we are in at least the conditions to possibly see extras. ADG, can they cleanly get 11 here? Can you start to get closer to something like a lockdown of your own in the process? It's a long, long haul to get there. It's a big ask, but if Bones could find a couple, that'd be massive for ADG trying to break out of an overtime situation. But for now, let's just not shrug off the power of the Sheriff and cover our corners, cross our T's, dot our I's. And yeah, we're using everything to isolate, and that's what I'm talking about. What a counter flash from Muddy. Unbelievable. Didn't expect the triple play. Now Muddy's got a Phantom, and this just all fell apart. It was getting so interesting and so good, and now Rose has every advantage.
Wait. Bones? The young talent? It's a hard one, but this player's flashy, man. He can do it. Oh, no. Okay, there it is. Cleaned up. Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. That's a massive drop ball from ADG. I feel like that was a must win. The 11-11 was served to them on a plate, and they fumbled it right before the waiter delivered it to their table, my friend. That is tough. That's the definition of tough.
Spaghetti on the floor, that's what they say. Wow. I mean, it's just, I almost wish we had the replay from the other perspective on that counter attack, because ADG are looking like, oh, we got one guy here, but we'll just get the trade. And all of a sudden, pop flash, here's everyone. And it's just, oh, so tough, so unfortunate. Now you're 12-10, dimensional drift, operator, lockdown. It's just ADG did all the hard work. That's what's the hard part about this. They did all the hard stuff. And now they've lost first blood. There's a walk down at mid. Trade still eventually give Rose the numbers.
One enemy
And
remaining.
that will make it pretty much
Spike down,
all
B.
she wrote. Wow. What a tough finish
Wow.
to what was built to be a really good second half.